SITREP World Briefing for June 26, 2026. Iran and its Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, escalated pressure on commercial traffic in the Strait of Hormuz by renewing warnings over vessel passage and by creating conditions that left shipping exposed to attack. A cargo ship traveling on the new Omani UN-backed route through the waterway suffered bridge damage after being hit by a projectile. The strait matters far beyond Iran and the Gulf because it connects major oil and gas exporters to global markets. And even limited disruption can affect freight schedules, insurance costs, and regional trade flows within hours. Oil prices fell back pre-war levels on signs that shipping through the Strait of Hormuz was gradually resuming, but that retreat in crude prices did not erase the wider damage caused by the threat itself, because traders, ship owners, and Gulf governments still had to account for disrupted routes and the possibility of renewed interference. For the Arab states along the Gulf, which are geographically closest to the confrontation and heavily exposed to maritime commerce, Tehran's use of Hormuz as leverage has sharpened the push for a more durable regional arrangement that lowers the risk of future blockages. The regional calculation is not only about military deterrence, but also about safeguarding export revenue, port activity, and investor confidence in states whose prosperity depends on predictable passage through Hormuz. By signaling that vessels may need Iranian acquiescence to transit safely, the IRGC has reminded neighboring governments that maritime security in the narrow waterway can shape everything from energy pricing to diplomatic strategy, making de-escalation and clearer navigation rules central to any effort at regional stability. Venezuelan rescue crews continued searching collapsed buildings and damaged neighborhoods on Thursday after two powerful earthquakes struck the country on June 24th, as the official death toll rose to at least 235. Health Minister Carlos Alvarado said at least 4,300 people were injured, and authorities said emergency workers were still trying to reach survivors in the aftermath of the back-to-back quakes. The scale of the damage has pushed the government into a large rescue operation, with hospitals, civil defense teams, and other emergency services focused on the hardest-hit areas, while families waited for news of missing relatives. International assistance was also beginning to take shape as Venezuela awaited outside help to support its emergency response. The United States said it was sending military ships and planes to provide aid. In a country where infrastructure, public health capacity, and supply chains have been strained for years, the arrival of foreign transport, medical support, and relief supplies could shape how quickly authorities move from rescue work to broader relief and recovery for thousands of affected residents. Scientists with the World Weather Attribution Group said Europe's exceptional June heatwave was made vastly more likely and more intense by human-caused climate change, concluding that such an event would have been virtually impossible 50 years ago. Their rapid analysis found a comparable heatwave would have been about 3.5 degrees Celsius cooler during the day in a pre-warming climate. The researchers said the current spell of heat, which has produced record-breaking temperatures in parts of Europe, could be linked unequivocally to climate change caused by human activity. World Weather Attribution specializes in rapid event analysis, using observed temperatures and climate models to compare today's conditions with a world before large-scale fossil fuel warming. The finding places this June event in the broader pattern of Europe's accelerating heat extremes, where earlier, hotter summers are arriving outside the traditional peak months of July and August. The study's conclusion is likely to sharpen pressure on European governments as they manage both immediate public health risks and longer-term climate policy. Extreme heat is one of the deadliest weather hazards in Europe because it strains hospitals, power systems, agriculture, and transport networks at the same time, especially when high nighttime temperatures limit relief. The scientists have added fresh evidence to debates over emissions cuts, urban heat planning, and how quickly countries must adapt to hotter summers that now arrive earlier in the calendar. The U.S. Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to end protected status for two distinct immigrant groups in the United States. The ruling clears the way for the potential deportation of about 350,000 Haitians and about 6,000 Syrians, a combined total of roughly 356,000 people, many of whom have lived in the country for years. The decision did not affect equal numbers from both communities, and the Haitian population accounts for the overwhelming majority of those exposed by the move. The ruling was 6-3. The decision strips legal protections from migrants whose home countries have been judged too dangerous or unstable for return. For Haitian nationals, that warning carries particular weight because Haiti has been gripped by armed gang violence, institutional breakdown, and repeated humanitarian emergencies. Protected status programs have long served as a temporary shield for people already in the United States when war, disaster, or state collapse made return unsafe. The Supreme Court's order now gives the administration room to unwind that safeguard for these two nationalities. The legal and political significance extends beyond the 56,000 people directly affected on this occasion. Sources and the full written briefing are available at sitrepbrief.com.